As working parents in the US return to the office, they find themselves facing an urgent problem: a lack of childcare services. Staffing has long been challenging in the sector, and the COVID-19 pandemic has only made it worse. Julia Sun has more from New York.
Children playing. It's a welcome sight here at this New York City daycare center. When COVID-19 hit last year, empty classrooms became the norm.
A lot of families didn't have to go back to work. They lost their job, so they didn't need care because they were staying home. So the enrollment dropped enormously.
Union Settlement managed to keep operating, even with heavily reduced attendance, and enrollment has now bounced back. But many others weren't so lucky. Some were forced to close, at least temporarily, and their staff had to look elsewhere to make a living. Here in New York City, women account for 93% of the early childcare workforce, and they're predominantly women of color. That is according to the Daycare Council of New York, which says during the pandemic, many of these workers left the childcare industry for retail and food services. Those jobs, even at minimum wage, pay roughly the same amount, but are considered less stressful. According to a recent survey conducted by the National Association for the Education of Young Children, 80% of providers across America have reported staff shortages, and they've had to reduce capacity. The majority said low wages, averaging $11 an hour, were the main challenge in bringing back staff. Working parents are feeling the shortages most keenly.
There's a lot of families who are really looking for childcare, and it happens very suddenly because their own offices or their own workplaces may choose it sort of very quickly to return to in-person work.
In a recent report, the U.S. Treasury Department called the current childcare crisis unworkable. In addition to high turnover and low pay in the industry, the average American family spends 13% of its income on these services, which isn't affordable for many. The Biden administration is pushing a bill that would provide free childcare to the lowest earners and capped all families' childcare costs at 7% of their income. Through a separate provision, it's seeking to institute universal preschooling for all 3- and 4-year-olds.
There have been studies, including from the University of Chicago, showing that investment in childcare pays back 7 times what is invested in childcare. And we've seen that when you invest in childcare, it does support parents' work, it does put that money back in the community.
The administration is also proposing to increase the pay of childcare workers and preschool teachers to match that of primary teachers. Some childcare centers have already sweetened their offerings to attract staff.
Within the last 6 months, we have brought up the salary compensation to about 40 to 50% higher than previously. We're between $68,000 and $75,000 for a certified teacher with a master's.
Job search site Indeed says it's seen a rise in urgent hiring postings for childcare workers, along with nurses and drivers. Childcare facilities may need to offer even higher wages to keep up with soaring demand. Julia Sun, TRT World, New York.